In our ports and in our airports, the UK Border Agency is fighting a constant battle against smugglers.
I'm arresting you. Oh, dear me.
Coming up, in Gatwick, one man's nerves seem to give the game away.
So you have no problem doing an X-ray? Yeah.
On a flight from Malaga, one passenger seems to have forgotten who he's travelling with.
Travelling by yourself today? Just yourself, is it? Who's this? Oh.
And in Birmingham, Officer Mike pulls over one unhappy customer.
I'm going to have a look. I'm not happy what you're doing right now. Well, that's fine. If you're not happy, sir. Honestly. If you're not happy, there's a complaints procedure.
At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Bridgetown in Barbados, a popular transit route for drug smugglers. The body language of one passenger has caught the eye of officers. He's been acting nervously since coming through immigration, so he's pulled over to answer a few questions.
How long ago did you shirt?
Shirt?
Yeah. Yeah.
I planned it about a month ago. I bought the ticket early last week. I bought the travel.
So did you go from Canada to...
Yeah, to
Bridgetown?
Barbados, yeah. Yeah, I went from there. Well, I figured it's better to go there first and all the way back, just to make sense.
A quick search of the man's suitcase has revealed nothing suspicious, but his animated and nervous behaviour is causing great concern.
Have you used any cocaine while you're in a way?
No, I haven't.
So if we do an X-ray of you, there'll be no cocaine use system? Do you have no packages?
No, there's no packages.
You sure? So you have no problem doing an X-ray?
Have to do an X-ray?
Yeah. You got package of cocaine inside you?
I have no packages.
Are you sure about this?
Sure.
Yeah?
But the man's answers aren't convincing, and he started to sweat noticeably. A swab test of his suitcase is carried out for any traces of drugs. The machine gives an extremely high reading for the presence of cocaine. As the circumstances become even more suspicious, officers escort the man to a private interview room for questioning. Here they hope he may confess to being a drug smuggler.
You can't stop talking. You look as nervous as anything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, go on.
I think you may have drugs inside you, or on your person. Okay?
He's basically done a couple of iron tracks and they've come up quite high. He suspects that it may be internal concealment. So he's just arrested him now, and then I dare say, providing we get acceptance from him, that we'll body scan him just to check that he's clear.
Smugglers carrying packages internally often secrete traces of drugs through the sweat in their shoes. A swab test is conducted for any further hits of cocaine. And another very high reading for cocaine causes more concern, giving officers a good reason to put the passenger through a full-body X-ray. It's a busy morning at Bristol Airport. Passengers have arrived back from Malaga and are waiting in baggage reclaim for their luggage. Officers have been X-raying suitcases coming off the flight and have identified a number of bags carrying large quantities of tobacco. Officer Brandon spots the first bag being collected by a male passenger and moves into position to intercept him in the customs channels.
Hello there, sir. Customs. So you come through? Travelling by yourself today? Yeah. Just yourself, is it? Okay.
Tobacco products purchased in Spain are only allowed to enter the UK if they're for personal use.
Have you ever been stopped by customs before? No. Have you purchased any excise goods whilst you've been away? Cigarettes, tobacco, anything like that? Okay. How much tobacco have you got?
As the passenger struggles with the padlock on his bag, Officer Erica has been looking at the passenger list for the flight.
You travelling with anyone else at all? Or? No?
But she knows this isn't true. The man is travelling with his wife, and he faces an uncomfortable reunion.
Excuse me, madam, have you got your passport at all?
Me.
Yeah. Your husband's got
Yeah.
it? So you're travelling with your husband?
Yeah.
Right, OK, if you can step with us, we've just pulled him in a second.
Who's your tobacco for then?
I smoke for myself.
Is that your husband there?
Two lads, they smoke as well.
Right.
Right, okay. When did you last travel abroad?
4 weeks
This-
ago.
Who's this?
My wife, so.
Oh, how did you manage to travel alone then, and all of a sudden your wife's here? Did you not know you were both flying at the same time?
No, it was like that though. We stopped people.
Right.
But I asked you again, and you still said you weren't travelling with anyone.
Right, bear me a moment, okay?
Brandon decides to run some background checks. The man has been stopped by customs in the past, meaning he's lied more than once.
He doesn't know the combination for his case. He said he's not been stopped by customs on a previous occasion, which obviously is a lie again. There's got to be reasons. There's casting a lot of doubt in my mind. We'll have a look what he's got in there, and we'll take things from there. Oh, you got it off, did you?
The man must prove his tobacco products are for personal use. But given he's lied twice already, Brandon is less inclined to believe anything he has to say.
What kind of goods do you have there?
If they fail to convince officers that the tobacco is only for themselves, they face having all of their goods seized. In Gatwick, officers are about to X-ray a nervous Canadian man who they suspect is trying to smuggle drugs inside his body. A swab test has been conducted on the passenger's shoes, and due to the extremely high reading for cocaine, he's been led away for a full-body X-ray. This isn't helping his nervous behaviour.
Right.
Is this a consent?
Yeah, because you're taking our X-ray,
Yeah.
we need your consent to say that you'll do it for us.
Well, I'm not going to give you my consent. I think this is a load of crap.
Okay, well what happens then if you don't do the X-ray? You stay with us until you've produced 2 clear bowel movements, however long that may take.
If you don't want to, that's fine. We'll just take you downstairs, get you custardised, put you in a cell in a white suit, and we'll wait there till you've moved your bowels twice to show there's no packages there. Or we can do it now by doing an X-ray. You're cool.
The man's options are limited. They'll find out one way or another whether he's swallowed any drugs.
Right, now what you need to do, this conveyor belt's going to move, yeah? You're going to stand on it. You need to stand on it as I'm standing on it, nice and straight, yeah? Arms by his side, nice and still. And breathe out slowly, yeah? Until your lungs are empty and hold.
With the net closing in, officers try to get him to confess.
How many packages you got? What? Cocaine inside you? No. Huh?
Incredibly, he's still denying it. But the X-ray images confirm their suspicions that he's stuffed with packages. The man is led away to the airport's custody suite.
Let us know immediately if you feel unwell.
Hello.
He kept pleading his innocence, but after a week and a half in custody, he eventually went to the toilet and produced 36 packages of cocaine with a street value of over £30,000. Back at Bristol, an elderly couple are trying to prove that a large quantity of cigarettes and tobacco purchased in Spain is for their personal use only and not illegal resale.
So no papers, no filters, no smoking tin? Nothing? What about yourself? Do you have anything like that? You just smoke cigarettes, okay? With the fingers, and there's no odour, no tobacco odour from them. I'm quite convinced that they're non-smokers. Do you want to come and take
The officers decide to take the couple away for further questioning.
No, we'll stay separate. I'll get you a seat now.
They'll be interviewed separately to see if their stories are the same.
If they're telling lies, then it's very rare that they'll have the same story, unless they're well rehearsed. But I doubt that is the case.
During the interviews, it's revealed that the couple regularly buy tobacco abroad for themselves and their sons.
How does that work? Do they tell you how much they want, or do you charge them for the quantity you give them when you get back?
I pay the bill, you see, and you must split it 3 ways, whatever it was.
But receiving money for goods is an offence, even if it's from family members.
Bought it for Christmas presents mostly, for the children, grandchildren.
So why did you lie about travelling with your wife?
As I say, it was just news, I don't know why I said it.
As Brandon and Erica compare notes, there's some inconsistencies in their stories.
His wife basically is giving a different story, painting a different picture really of where the goods are going and how much they've brought back on a previous occasion. He's also receiving money for 2/3 of the goods. I believe there's enough grounds to make a sort of viable seizure. I'm not satisfied the goods are for yourselves, and there's a commercial element involved, all right? And the goods will be seized from you on this occasion.
Reluctantly, the couple sign papers to confirm that their tobacco is all being seized. They'll have 30 days in which to appeal the seizure, but for now, they're leaving empty-handed. Coming up, one man stopped at Gatwick yet again.
Yeah, I've stopped him before. And when we did the iron track, it gave us the highest I've ever seen.
Coming up, in Birmingham, Officer Mike gets some job advice.
I don't tell you what to do for your job, you please don't tell me what to do for mine, and then we'll get on just fine, won't we?
At Gatwick Airport, a plane has just touched down from Amsterdam, and border agency officers are observing passengers as they disembark the flight. In immigration control, officers have been alerted to a Dutchman entering the country.
What you can do is just go around to the bench here, or just have a quick look inside your bag.
It seems this is not the first time the man has been stopped.
We saw this guy a couple of months ago. He's a frequent traveller to the UK. When he's intercepted, he comes up with a different reason for travel each time. He comes up with a different background story each time. For some reason, he doesn't want to tell us exactly what he's doing.
Okay, now you told me that you wanted to come and live in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes? Is that what your trip is all about? You're coming over here?
Yeah, because I want to find that out. If I like it, but I want to find that out if I really like it to stay here. You know?
Okay, but you're not staying very long to try and find out, you know, been here.
Yeah, because I come here a couple of times.
You don't have much baggage with you?
Yes, I don't come for all week.
But there's good reason to be suspicious.
I've stopped him before, and he had a laptop case. And when we did the iron track on the laptop case, it gave us the highest I've ever seen. And he was very inconsistent with his story at the time. So we body scanned him, we x-rayed him at the hospital, that was all negative, and we had nowhere else to go, we had to let him go.
Having found massively high traces of drugs on the passenger in the past, officers must again rule out the possibility that he may be carrying drugs this time.
You know, I was asking you upstairs about the stamps you have in here for the Dutch Antilles that you went to earlier in the year. You told me you went there on vacation. Did you go on vacation with your wife and children to the Dutch Antilles? Where did you stay?
Family. My family.
You've got family out there. You're a busy person. When do you find time to work? Just take a seat. I'll be back in a moment.
With large quantities of drugs entering the UK from South America and the Caribbean, Sarah needs to make sure his links with the Dutch Antilles are legitimate.
From what I can make out, he actually missed the flight yesterday, so he's come in today. He's going home again tonight. He's saying that he just wants to come over here to see what it's like to live in the UK. But I'm not really very happy with what he's telling me. I'm not really very happy with... You know, he says he works in a shop, in a magazine section of a shop out the back. He doesn't actually sell magazines to the public. But his clothing is quite expensive, and I don't know, something's not hanging together right here.
It's the busiest part of the day at Birmingham Airport, as a number of flights arrive during the lunchtime rush hour. As passengers head for the exit, officers spot a lone male passenger who's been identified as starting his journey in Morocco. Officer Mike pulls him over to ask a few questions.
Are you French, English, Moroccan? English.
British.
Yeah, oh, yeah, obviously you can't say English anymore. So where's Kenitra? Is that Morocco? Yeah. Is that the ancestral... How long have you been out there?
10 days.
Is that a holiday? Yeah. And who were you visiting?
What?
Who were you visiting?
From the man's demeanour, it seems he's less than happy about being stopped.
Parents, yeah. So what do you do in the UK?
Security.
Yeah, what sort of security? Building security, door security?
Not door security, it's obviously retail security. No?
Retail security. Okay. Just bear with me, I'm going to have a quick look through your bag. If you pop it on there for me, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, you've got to go somewhere, sir, but we'll do this as quick as we can. That's what you believe.
The man's anger at being stopped creates more suspicion that he has something to hide.
So where are you off to then? Where are you off to? Where are you off to now? Sorry? You just want to go home. Where's home? Sorry?
If you open it again, please, like the same.
Well, I'll do my best, but, you know, if you're not happy the way we do it, then you can sort it out for yourself, can't you?
What do you mean that's what I myself?
Well, I'll open it the best that I can. If you want to, do you want to unwrap it for me?
You know why? Listen to me.
Do you want to unwrap it so you can wrap it back up how you want,
Yeah, exactly.
or do you want me to just cut it open? I'm happy for you to unwrap it.
You can brain, you can use machines or
No,
whatever.
that's... I'm going to have a look.
I'm not happy what you're doing right now.
Well, that's fine. If you're not
cameras,
happy, sir.
Honestly.
If you're not happy,
really
there's
not
a
happy.
complaints procedure you can follow after we've done
Yeah,
this.
I need to talk to somebody you see.
Well, no. At the moment, we're going to look in this box, all right? Now, do you want me to cut it
I
open?
don't want the camera, please. All right? Second, please.
Yeah, well...
The machine. You don't have to open it.
Listen, I don't tell you what to do for your job. You please don't tell me what to do for mine, and then we'll get on just fine, won't we?
With the man's attitude, it's going to take Mike a while to properly search his bags. In Gatwick, officers are still probing the Dutchman with an inconsistent story. His passport shows he's made multiple trips in a short period of time, and they don't know if he's telling the truth or not.
I'm not happy, but at the same time I can't persecute the guy.
No, you can't.
A swab test is conducted on his bag for any traces of drugs.
So, just going to see if I can get any readings from the bag here.
And a positive reading for cocaine leaves Officer Sarah with yet more questions.
Have you got a hit off his bag?
Yes.
How high?
1.96.
No, not as high as last time.
Oh, a bit high.
What does he say he does for a job?
He works in a magazine section behind a shop.
See, last time he said he was involved in his family gold business.
Oh, really? No, there's been no mention of the family gold business. I'll go and investigate further about his job. How long have you worked in this warehouse stroke shop?
5 years. Also for somebody home, like when you have a house, painting, put the floor.
Oh, okay.
The inconsistent job history, along with the lack of evidence, is beginning to frustrate.
I don't want to persecute the guy, but at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that's not adding up.
What we will do is search him to see if we can find anything on his person, any papers, large sums of cash, anything at all, which could indicate the real reason for his travel to the UK, which obviously he doesn't want to tell us about.
I'm really not very happy about some of the things that you've said to me today. You're not here for very long. So for that reason, I've had a search authorised. So some male officers here are going to take you into the room, away from the public view, and they'll just give you a rub-down search, okay?
Whilst hoping they may find some concrete evidence to explain the man's suspicious story, it doesn't take long to make a decision.
Okay.
Nothing found means he's free to go.
if you just grab your bag
Yeah.
and then just make your way through to the exit. Good luck to you in finding a job and working out where you want to live. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
It's an inexplicable outcome for the officers.
His story, his reasons for being here are unbelievably vague. Doesn't really all add up. Who knows?
In Birmingham, Officer Mike is still searching the bags of the disgruntled passenger who started his journey in Morocco.
What's this?
Drops.
Sorry?
Check them.
Will you tell me what it is before I get there? You tell me you know what's in the bag.
It's kind of sweets.
What's that one do?
Huh?
What's that for?
This?
Yeah.
Medication?
For what?
For headache.
For a headache?
Someone got this drink.
The man's nonchalant answers are proving just as much of a headache for Mike.
What's that off? What is it? It's your nationality, is it? Who's the other fella? You don't know.
Having found nothing of significance in the man's bag, his shoes are swab tested for any traces of drugs.
I'll just swab the shoes feel a little heavy, and I'll just swab the inside of them to see if we've got a trace reading. As you can see, there's a small trace reading for heroin. Just going to pop them through the X-ray now.
Heroin use is widespread in Morocco, and Mike is concerned that the passenger may be concealing the drug in his shoes.
Now to be honest, that looks exactly what I'd expect to see. Looks fine. Okay, so thanks for your patience. You start putting that back if you want to. Well, you can repack it if you want to. I mean, it's the legal obligation is passengers are legally obliged to open and repack their baggage when requested to do so. Just speeds things up for you. I know you're in a rush.
The man is clearly unhappy about the whole incident. Searching passengers and their luggage is part and parcel of the UK Border Agency's role. It's a necessary process, and for the officers, courtesy goes a long way.
There you go. Thanks for your time and your patience. We're very well aware that the majority of people are perfectly innocent travellers going about their normal day-to-day life. The guilty don't wear labels, and it can make our job a lot easier if people are compliant and pleasant with us rather than perhaps trying to see things that aren't there.
The nervous Canadian man who swallowed 36 packages of cocaine pleaded guilty to smuggling drugs and was sentenced to 3 years in prison.